जय श्री यशोदा दामोदर जी की। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jai Damodar ji ki, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yatna ki Jai. This particular raga that we sing is actually very famous as the raga that Gajendra sang when he was in difficulty and he was trying to pray very hard for someone to save him. You all know the pastime of Gajendra, and his prayers are very famously known as Gajendra Moksha. You also know that Gajendra's prayers are very heartfelt because he was in danger. He was in so much difficulty because he was actually in the jaws of a crocodile. And the crocodile was so powerful that despite all his efforts, for 1,000 years, Gajendra could not escape the clutches of the crocodile. Bhagavatam tells us that the crocodile actually represents the network of illusion in this material world. And it is because of the network of illusion that somehow or another we are trapped in this material world. Actually, by nature and constitution, we don't belong to the material world. This sharir belongs to the material world. But the Atma, which is really our true constitutional position, does not belong to the material world. So Gajendra was like that too. Gajendra was not an aquatic animal. An elephant spends some time in the water, but it is not an aquatic animal. And after a while it will come out. But the crocodile was an aquatic animal. And he could spend hours and hours and hours within the water. So the point that Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas bring up, when the crocodile caught the jaws, when the crocodile's jaws caught the foot of Gajendra, is that in this material world, it is so difficult to try and think that we will be able to fit into this world. Because every time we try to fit, something happens in our life that causes us to feel that actually we don't fit. And every time we try to fit into this material world, you will realize that you will have nothing but misery and lamentation. So this is a very important point for us to realize. It is very easy for us to get attached to the material world and the objects of the material world. Sometimes what devotees want to do is that we want to have one foot in the spiritual world, and we want to conveniently have one foot in the material world also. And we think that I can just go on that way and somehow continue with my spiritual life. Gajendra tried to do that, because for a while he thought he was the king of the elephants and he thought he had everything under control. And sometimes even as devotees, we think we have everything under control also. But Gajendra realized the moment he entered into the water and got caught by the crocodile, that he was not a creature of this material world. So one of the great lessons of Gajendra Moksha, and what we sang just now, this raga, is for us to understand that we can never really be completely satisfied and happy in this material world as long as we don't use our senses in the satisfaction and engagement of Krishna. This is very important. That is why it is stated in Bhagavatam, it is stated in our Shastras, Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam. Sarva Upadi means all our senses must be engaged in the service of Krishna. If we don't engage our senses somehow or another in the service of Krishna, then we will be engaging our senses in the service of Maya. And once we are caught by Maya, like we are caught by the crocodile, then there is no escaping. But then how did Gajendra escape? Gajendra escaped because he came to realize that when he is in difficulty, nobody can help him. This is a very important point. Gajendra realized that his children could not help him. His wives had to leave him. His generals tried very hard to pull him out, but none of them could help him. Even he himself was the most powerful of elephants. He himself could not help himself. So then he realized that if all these people whom I depended on cannot help me, then the only thing I can do is to turn to that person who is the source of all shelters. See, in our material life, very often we surrender to those whom we love, in the sense that we expect them to help us in difficult times. We expect our husbands, our wives, our children, our friends to help us in difficult times. But we don't realize that even if they could, they cannot. Because for a while they may be appearing to be friends, they may be appearing to be there, but ultimately the material world is such that once your purpose is finished, then their purpose with you is finished. And that ends. So generally speaking, it is very difficult for us to expect something from this material world. In expectation, there is disappointment. But in acceptance of our situation, there is enlightenment. That is important. So when he accepted his position, then he could understand that I must take the shelter of one who is the shelter of all shelters. And that is known in Bhagavatam as Param Parayanam. Param Parayanam means one who is the source of all other shelters actually. And so he surrendered, Sharanam. He surrendered Sharanam to one who is worthy of surrender. And that is known as Sharanyam. Sharanyam. Why are we speaking about this pastime today when we are looking at Damodarji? It's because all the great devotees of the Lord, whether it's Mother Yashoda, whether it is Gajendra, whether it is any devotee whom we can remember, Sudama, anyone, all of them had one very important characteristic. They all finally attracted the mercy of the Lord. Gajendra finally attracted the mercy of the Lord, and the Lord came and saved him at the point where no one else could save him. And how did he attract this mercy of the Lord? By becoming surrendered to him. Very important. He surrendered himself to Krishna. He did not do anything else except surrender to Krishna. Draupadi Mata was trying very hard to hold on to her sari in the assembly of the Kauravas. But as long as she held, and with one hand she was crying out to Govinda, Govinda, Krishna did not come. But the moment she let go, and she put both her hands up, and she prayed very hard to Krishna as Govinda, then Krishna actually accepted her surrender. And so this is the point of what Yashoda Mata did to Krishna. Yashoda Mata woke up in the morning on the day of Diwali, and she surrendered herself to the service of the Lord. That's what she did. She woke up, she dressed herself very nicely like we all do on the day of Diwali. But instead of just sitting down and waiting for everyone else to do the work, she picked up the pestle, the mortar, and she started grinding. And as she was grinding, she wanted to churn. She churned the best butter for Krishna. So she did not waste time. Her surrender began the moment she woke up. And the moment she woke up, all her senses were engaged in remembering Krishna. You see, that is the commonality. Gajendra, when he realized the futility of trying to depend on material energy, he surrendered all his senses in the service of Krishna. And therefore he became liberated. So Mother Yashoda, when she woke up in the morning, the first thing she remembered was, what shall I do for Krishna? And that was her consciousness. And even though the churning of the butter was hard labor, that endeavor did not discourage her. Just like Gajendra was in hard labor, just trying to keep alive, but it did not disturb him because his mind was engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna. In fact, how beautiful, in all the pain, when Krishna came as Vishnu on the Garuda, what did Gajendra do? He picked up a lotus flower and he actually gave it to the Lord. Can you imagine the etiquette and the love that he had? He could just say, Krishna, hurry up, I'm in difficulty. He didn't say that. Why did you take so long? He didn't say that. Instead, he picked up a lotus flower and he offered it to Krishna despite all his pain. That's why Srila Prabhupada says, actually, devotees are sentient beings. Sometimes we are very cold with each other, but we have to be warmer with each other because everyone is in difficulty and our duty is to serve each other. We are not Mayavadis here. And therefore, just like Krishna is so warm to his devotees are also warm to him and always warm to other devotees. And this is a very nice hallmark of Yashoda Mata. So Yashoda churned the butter and she did not feel any fatigue because she was remembering Krishna. So this is the best way to relieve ourselves of fatigue. All of you have come from a long day, either at work or home, it's a weekday. And, Sandeep Prabhu and Mataji were kind enough to have a program on a weekday. And they have invited so many devotees and all of you have come. You could easily say, it's a weekday, I'm too tired, why should I come? But you are here because you are endeavoring for Krishna. And those who endeavor for Krishna, ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna will also endeavor towards you. He will endeavor towards you. And that's what he did with Mother Yashoda. As she was churning butter and milk, she was remembering Krishna. She was remembering all his pastimes. And Bhagavatam says she was actually smiling. She was actually smiling. And because she was engaging her entire body, unknown to her, all her senses were occupied. This is very important. There's that verse, what is it? 266 of Bhagavad Gita. Raga dvesha vimuktais tu, vishayan indriyais charan, atma vashay vide atma prasadam adhigacchati. Right? 266 of Bhagavad Gita. There Krishna says very nicely to Krishna says very nicely to Arjuna that actually those who raga dvesha vimuktais tu, those who are actually neither attached to something nor averse to something. And those who are completely in control of their mind and their senses, meaning that they are engaging them. And if they are not averse, neither are they attracted or attached to something, such persons will attract the mercy of Krishna. Only such persons can attract the mercy of Krishna. So if you really want to know how to attract the mercy of Krishna, engage your mind and your senses first in his service. That's the first thing to do. Despite all the distractions and attractions, always do not let your mind divert. That is very important. Mother Yashoda, in a simple, ordinary task, right? A kitchen work that she was doing, just churning butter. It wasn't something extraordinary. She showed us that even you could be in the kitchen cooking, but you could be a first-class devotee performing first-class devotional service if your activity is completely surrendered to Krishna. Very important. Now all of us are sitting here, but the real test is how many of us are actually listening. That is very important. We may be very distracted, who's wearing what, who's doing what, who's coming here, who's not here. All these things may be distractions. Or we may look at the house, we may think it's very crowded, the mind becomes like that. But the person who actually is absorbing is the person who is surrendered. That is the difference. That is the difference. And so those who are engaged with their mind and their senses, like Mother Yashoda did when she was churning, what happens to them? They are neither attached to something, neither are they averse to something. In this material world, very often we live in such a way, either I'm attached to you today or I'm averse to you tomorrow. Isn't it? How many times we've had a best friend who after a while we could not stand? Or we became very close to someone, after a while we get tired of them. Attachment, aversion, attachment, aversion. Those who become attached and become averse, these are the signs of materialists. Because materialists are like that. But devotees are not like that. Devotees, they don't get averse to something, neither do they get attached to something. But they are always loyal to a cause. They are always loyal to Krishna. And they are always loyal to the devotees. Very important. Prabhupada said, if you must become attached to devotees. Serve them. When you serve them, Krishna becomes very pleased. And so that's what Mother Yashoda did. She served Krishna. And because she served Krishna, Krishna became very happy. And he reciprocated. How did he reciprocate? He came out. He was sleeping. She was churning, but he came out. And he indicated to her that I want milk. And so Mother Yashoda put him on the lap and she started feeding him milk. She became very happy. But then devotee's life is never smooth. Devotee's life is always full of challenges. Isn't it true? Something will always challenge us. Some challenge will be sent by Krishna. In this case, the challenge was the milk that was on the stove and it was boiling. And Mother Yashoda was having such a nice time with Krishna. But she thought, I have to save the milk. Because if I don't, what will happen is the milk will boil over. And that milk is meant for Krishna. So she was in a bit of a transcendental dilemma. But Mother Yashoda thought, let me first save the milk and put Krishna down. I'll take my chance. And so she went inside. And Krishna became transcendently very angry. And he thought, let me teach my mother a lesson. Now, Krishna is playing the perfect part of a child. And children are never perfect. You know that, right? It's very hard for a child to keep still and not make any noise. If a child doesn't make any noise, the child is a sadhu. Okay? It doesn't happen. Really doesn't happen. Though at the moment I can see one sadhu over there. Okay? I can see one little girl there sitting down. But maybe she's sadhu because she has a phone. Right? That's also very helpful to the sadhus nowadays, isn't it? They become very, very captivated by something. Sarva upadi vinir muktam. Right? So this is how it is. So therefore, Mother Yashoda was so fixed. And Krishna was the perfect child. And so Krishna decided, if a child is put down and they are halfway being fed, they become angry. And so he became angry. And he thought, let me punish my mother. So he broke the pot of milk, which was turning into butter. And so after breaking it, he realized I was in mistake because now my mother will be angry. When we were children, we also did that, right? We did a lot of things and then we realized, oh, now I'm going to be in trouble. That's the difference, hopefully, between children and adults, right? Adults should know that, but sometimes we don't. So what happened was Krishna left the scene. He ran inside because he knew his mother would be unhappy. Mother Yashoda comes out and she sees that the milk and the butter and whatever she was doing, all the hard work she was doing, had gone to waste. Now sometimes devotees get stuck in this. We get stuck in this. Because we think we have done this nice seva and suddenly, it doesn't work out. Like for example, I remember Janmashtami, there was sometimes you put nice flowers on Janmashtami and then it becomes too heavy and it just collapsed. I think this year it happened that way. So some devotees felt very discouraged. Why it happened, how can it happen? Sometimes devotees do a particular service and then somehow the service doesn't go the way they want to, or it seems like the service is interrupted. They become disturbed, you see. So sometimes people can feel that way. So Mother Yashoda, when she came out and she saw that all her service was disturbed, she was not disturbed. This is very important. Many things around us will always cause us disturbance, but we should remain alert and aloof. She realized that this disturbance was caused by Krishna. Ultimately, any disturbance that comes to us is also sanctioned by Krishna. So who are we to blame, finally? We can't blame anyone. It is sanctioned. That is why I'm suffering. So Mother Yashoda accepted it. She did not get angry with Krishna, all my hard work. Devotees never count the hours I put in, Prabhu, I should get this reward. No. I put in so much effort, it should be now there for everyone to see. No, that is not the mood of devotee. A devotee it doesn't matter. Attachment, no. Aversion, also no. You see? Raga, Dvesha, Vimuktaisthu. This is mood of a devotee. So then Mother Yashoda decided this must be Krishna's doing. And she was thinking, he's such an intelligent boy. He's broken the pot, all the butter is out, but he knows if he's in front of me, he'll be punished. But I must punish him because it is my duty as a mother. So this is the mood of a devotee. A devotee, Mother Yashoda, firmly believed that Krishna was her child. This is the highest love expressed in Vrindavan. She never thought Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can I check him? She never thought of him in all reverence. She thought of him as a little boy. And that was her greatest qualification. So she ran inside and she saw an amazing sight in the store where Krishna was standing on the mota. Right? The mota is used for grinding spices. That's what mota is used for. He was sitting on the mota. And he had broken many, many more pots, and he was distributing all the butter that was flowing to his favorite friends, the monkeys of Vrindavan. And the monkeys of Vrindavan were relishing and enjoying getting everything from Krishna. And Mother Yashoda beheld this sight. And in her mind she thought, how generous Krishna is. The fact that he's distributing so much of prasadam to everyone. Of course he was stealing it and distributing it. But Krishna actually was not stealing anything, Acharyas tell us, because everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is actually not a thief in the right sense of the word. The only thing that he steals that doesn't belong to him is your heart. Your heart is the only thing that actually belongs to you. And you have independent free will to decide where you want to give and who you want to give your heart to. A devotee gives their heart to Krishna. And therefore, when someone gives their heart to Krishna, Krishna becomes a servant to them. And Krishna became a servant to Mother Yashoda. He became a perfect child. And that is why Mother Yashoda was watching and thinking how wonderful this pastime is. But she did not realize that these monkeys were actually not ordinary monkeys. These monkeys were the Vanaras. They were the great devotees of Lord Ram way back in Treta Yuga, millions of years ago. And at that time, these monkeys, they had performed uninterrupted and unmotivated devotional service. Ahaituki apratihata. So much of nice service they had done. And at the end, after vanquishing Ravana, Lord Ram, he asked them for any benediction that you want. You ask and I will give it to you. And they said the only benediction that we want is that life after life, we should be serving you. That is the mood of a devotee. They could have asked for wives, husbands, and so many different kinds of opulences. But they knew that all these opulences will leave them. But the lotus feet of Lord Ram will never leave them. And therefore, they engaged all their senses and asked, please give us a chance to serve you again. And so in Krishna Leela, these same monkeys came. And now instead of seeing Lord Ram from afar in the mood of awe and reverence, they saw and they mingled with Krishna in the mood of spontaneous, loving, devotional service. That was Lord Krishna's mercy to them, great mercy to them. But at that time, what happened was, they had asked the benediction from Lord Ram, please give me a chance to serve you, and Lord Ram gave them the chance to be born and to serve them. But in this particular pastime, he did something that was a bit different. He actually served them. He gave them prasad. He gave them the milk. He gave them the butter. Because they had served him more than enough. And the Lord also wanted to serve them. So Krishna's great quality is gratitude. You will see in all Krishna Leela, Krishna is very, very grateful. Krishna never forgets anything a devotee does, anything a devotee even prays for. And he is always eager and ready to serve and fulfill the devotee's desire. Because he knows the devotee never has any desire except to serve Krishna and his devotees. This is Raga Dvesha Vimukta. Master of the senses and always using senses for Krishna. And now when the monkeys became very satisfied and the Lord as Krishna had satisfied the monkeys saw Mother Yashoda and they decided enough of this Leela. Now we must run. And they left, leaving Krishna alone. When Krishna turned and he saw that Mother Yashoda was there, Bhagavatam tells us he became very fearful. And he got off the mota and started running away from his mother. He didn't plead with his mother, nothing, because not only did he see Mother Yashoda, but he actually saw her stick. And then he knew now that he was in trouble. So Krishna started running and Mother Yashoda started chasing. And Bhagavatam says, This is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead that all the great yogis are trying to capture. They are trying to chase him. How do the yogis chase him? By meditation. This is the great Supreme Personality of Godhead whom all the siddhas are trying to capture. And how do they try to capture him? With their siddhi and their power. So they are trying so hard to do it, but Krishna cannot be caught by the yogis, he cannot be caught by the siddhis, because he is over and above all this. And therefore, in that mood, only bhakti can capture Krishna. And that too, that bhakti must be ahaituki apratihata. It must be unmotivated and it must be uninterrupted. And so Mother Yashoda started chasing Krishna. And every time she thought she could catch Krishna, Krishna eluded her. Even the great devotees of the Lord cannot catch Krishna. If Krishna wants, he can be caught. If he doesn't want, no one can catch Krishna. So hours passed and Mother Yashoda was trying to catch Krishna. In the morning she endeavored very hard and she was churning butter for him. In the afternoon she started chasing him and she couldn't catch him. And finally she gave up. Sharanam, Sharanyam. She gave up in her heart and she said, Krishna, be kind to me. I surrender to you. I can't catch you. Please allow yourself to be caught. And the moment she said that, Krishna decided enough is enough. Now I must be caught by my mother. So you see, it is so important for us to surrender. That's why we started today's session by speaking about Gajendra. Gajendra's surrender attracted Krishna. Yashoda Mata's surrender attracted Krishna. How did she surrender in this Leela? In the first place, she surrendered her day by starting the day immediately churning butter for him. Then she surrendered to him again. How did she surrender to him? She surrendered to him by feeding him. Then she surrendered to him by saving the milk on the stove. Then she surrendered to him by chasing him now. And now as she was chasing him, she surrendered to him again by saying, I cannot catch you. See the levels of surrender. And at that point of time, Krishna decided, let me be caught. And so he was caught. Now when he was caught, it is stated that he was very, very fearful. You know, in Kunti Mata in 1.8.31 of Srimad Bhagavatam, she says something very beautiful. Gopya dade, Gopya dade tavat kritaga sidama tavat. Yeah, it's 1.8.31. Yes. Yate dashashru kalilanjana sambramaksham vraktam niniya bhayabhavaniya stitasya samam vimohayati bir apitat bibheti. It's a beautiful shloka. And there, Mother Kunti, she is remembering Mother Yashoda. And she is talking to Krishna. And Krishna is leaving. He's leaving Hastinapur. And she tells to Krishna, Krishna, Mother Yashoda, Gopya dade. Gopya dade refers to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda caught Krishna and bound him with the ropes. And when she bound him with the ropes, she tied him because he had committed an offense. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. Krishna actually felt that he had committed an offense. And what was the offense? He had stolen butter, right? It's a criminal activity, stealing. So he felt that he had offended Mother Yashoda. So that's why Mother Kunti says he committed an offense. And therefore she bound him. And when she bound him, before she could bind him, the Lord displayed fear. Vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya stitasya. Bhaya means fear. So Mother Kunti is saying, fear personified is fearful of Krishna. Fear personified is fearful of Krishna. In Bhagavatam 3rd canto, 25th and 26th chapters, Kapila Dev tells Devahuti Mata, the wind is blowing out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The fire burns out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This earth is moving in orbit because of the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This great personality, who is so powerful, right, is now fearful of a simple, uneducated, middle-aged gopi. Imagine. That's why Mother Kunti says, Sa mam yad bibeti. She says, Sa mam vimohayati bir yad bibeti. Vimohati means I'm completely bewildered. How is it that someone like Yashoda Mata can instill so much fear in Krishna? The fear is because of Mother Yashoda's surrender to Krishna. Krishna exhibited fear because he wanted to show the whole universe how great his devotee is, that he is ready to play the part of the perfect child. A child should be fearful of the mother when the stick comes, isn't it? And that's what he did. And when Mother Yashoda saw tears in the eyes of the Lord, so much so that Sambramaksham, Kalilanjana Sambramaksham, right? Anjana means the ointment. All the ointment that was put in his eyes, they were all coming down because he was crying so much. He was crying so much. And so Mother Yashoda decided, out of compassion, out of love for her child, she decided, let me put the stick down, but I will tie you, Krishna. And so she brought the mortar and she tried to tie Krishna. The word is tried, because she tried very hard. Bhagavatam tells us that she got so much rope. Initially she just got a very simple rope because Krishna is not very big. He's a small boy, isn't it? And he's not very plump either. He's got a little bit of a tummy, but not very big. And so she brought a small rope, but it was 2 inches short. And she got more rope, and it was 2 inches short. And she got as much rope as she could, but it was still 2 inches short. Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, all our acharyas tell us that the 2 inches of the rope represent two foundational qualities in devotional service. One is our endeavor. Granatascha swachistitam, our endeavor. The more you work hard for Krishna, the more Krishna reciprocates with you. Working hard equals to Sharanam. Remember we started today with surrender. What is the real quality of surrender? You work hard. If you want to know the symptom of one who is surrendered to Krishna, the devotee is always working hard for Krishna. Never lazy. Always finding ways and means to do something for Krishna. Ways and means to serve the devotee. That's the mood of a devotee. Mother Yashoda in the morning endeavored for Krishna. In the afternoon chased Krishna. In the evening tried again to tie Krishna. All that was a symptom of her surrender. So endeavor. But endeavor alone cannot conquer Krishna. You need Krishna's mercy. Without Krishna's mercy, then all your endeavor will be no point. Ravana endeavored very much. Hiranyakashipu endeavored very much. They are hard workers. Hiranyakashipu stood on 1 foot, right? Literally on his toes. And he stood like that for 60,000 years in meditation. Now, you cannot tell me he was a lazy man. Okay, he was very hard working. To stand like that, 60,000 years, what kind of an iron resolve you must have. But the object of his hard work was not Krishna. You see? So endeavor without Krishna in the center is useless endeavor. It is known as Shrama. Hi eva kevalam. It is useless endeavor. But endeavor for Krishna, for the devotees, is always attracting the mercy of Krishna. Now always remember one other point that Bhagavatam tells us. Krishna's mercy is always flowing. Just like rain. Rain is pouring on fertile ground, rain is pouring on barren ground. Equal amount of rain is on barren and fertile ground. But on the fertile ground, everything grows. But on barren ground, nothing grows. You can't blame the rain. You have to blame the ground. So mercy is always flowing on us. Krishna is always giving us mercy. But endeavor determines how that mercy comes. You see the point? So these 2 inches are mercy and endeavor. And when Mother Yashoda realized she cannot bind Krishna, because no one can bind Krishna, she surrendered. Sharanam. And who did she surrender to? Sharanyam. Sharanyam means one who is worthy of taking shelter. So today what must we remember? We must remember Sharanam and we must remember Sharanyam. These are the 2. They sound very close. Sharanam is surrender. But more important is to whom we surrender to. Right? Maybe in your house you need food on the table, right? So the husband must surrender to the wife. Sharanam, Sharanyam. Or maybe the wife feels the husband is bringing money home, so he becomes Sharanyam. But all this is temporary. One who is really worthy of shelter is Krishna. And so therefore, Mother Yashoda, Sharanam, she surrendered to Sharanyam. And Krishna allowed himself to be bound. And the moment he was bound, the perfection of Yashoda Mata is there. This is the greatness of Mother Yashoda. But Krishna was not finished. Because after he was bound and Mother Yashoda was very happy, Krishna had one more pastime to fulfill. He started crawling towards two beautiful trees known as Yamal Arjuna trees in the back of his courtyard. And as he crawled, the mortar which was vertical turned horizontal and it started rolling. And as he went between the trees, the mortar got stuck. But that did not deter Krishna, because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? If he can be the source of all creation, what are two trees? And so he pushed a little bit and the trees came crashing down. And there in place of the tree were two beautiful beings, the sons of Kuvera, Nala Kuvera and Mani Griva. And Krishna asked them, why you are here? Why have you become trees? And they said, we became trees because we were intoxicated with pride. We were the sons of a great Devata, and we thought since our father is so rich, we don't have to work. And we had no idea of the goal of life. And so we drank and wasted our time away. And we were in a lake one day with no clothes on when Narada Muni, the pure devotee of the Lord, passed by. And we offended him by coming out with nothing on and intoxicated. Narada did not become angry with us, but he became compassionate with us. This is the mood of a devotee that you must take back. When a devotee is sometimes put in a difficult situation by others, or others have hurt a devotee, or they have said very unkind words, or they behave in a way which is very unbecoming, the devotee doesn't take offense. In fact, the devotee becomes compassionate. So Narada appeared to be angry because he cursed them. He said, better you become trees, because trees have no consciousness and you have no consciousness of the purpose of life. So become trees. But actually behind that was the mood of compassion. Because when the two brothers turned to him and said, please be kind to us, Narada. Narada said that I pray very much that somehow or another you will receive the compassion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Krishna will deliver you, even though you have become so void of understanding the purpose of your life. That is the great compassion of a devotee. We take it for granted sometimes, because we say, oh, devotees are very kind. But this kindness is really kindness, because any other kindness is sentiment. But this is genuine kindness. And so after that curse, Narada left, and the two boys became the trees. And thousands of years later, Krishna never forgot the prayer of his pure devotee Narada. And so in that prayer, to fulfill that prayer, because Narada is known as Devarishi Priyattamo. In Bhagavatam, Narada is known as Devarishi Priyattamo, one who is very, very dear to Krishna. And because he was very dear to Krishna, Krishna then told the two boys, frankly speaking, you and I have nothing to do with each other. Right? You just became trees, you never prayed to me, so nothing to do with me. You were not interested in me. But because the pure devotee, Narada, who is very dear to me, because he prayed so much for you, I am now bound by Narada's love. And therefore I deliver you now. And that is what Krishna did. Bhaktai Bhakta Jana Priyaha. It is stated in 9.463 of Bhagavatam that even the devotees of the devotees are very, very dear to Krishna. So therefore it is stated in the 10th canto, 9th chapter, 19th verse, Evam Sandarshita Hi Anga Harina Britya Vashyata. Harina Britya Vashyata means the quality of Krishna, which is very, very beautifully displayed in this Leela, is that Krishna can become subordinate to a surrendered devotee. Please remember this. There are two S's there. Krishna can become subordinate to a surrendered devotee. And a surrendered devotee is surrendered based on Sharanam and Sharanyam. So we have four S's now, isn't it? We have Sharanyam, we have Sharanam, we have surrender, and we have subordinate. So this is the quality of Krishna which is unique in this Leela. That he became subordinate to the wishes of his mother on the platform of her surrender. Just like he became subordinate to the prayer of Gajendra that we started today, right? Because Gajendra took Sharanyam of Krishna. And in that way, Krishna showed us that the essence of devotional service is to surrender to one who is really the source of all surrender, the source of all shelters, and one who is worthy of shelter. So in any situation we are in, Prabhus and Matajis, please always remember, see the hand of Krishna. There is always a reason why Krishna puts us in a situation. But never feel despair. In every moment when Mother Yashoda had despair, she surrendered to Krishna. When we are despairing, surrender to Krishna or surrender to his devotees. If you surrender to the devotees of Krishna, like Narada, like the two boys surrendered to Narada, please, please save us. Narada delivered them. So this pastime is really about how devotees can bind Krishna with their love, their surrender, and their devotion. And so Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with her love, not the ropes. The monkeys bound Krishna by their affection and their surrender also. There was no rope, but he was surrendered to him. He was bound by them. And last but not least, Narada Muni bound Krishna with his love so that he could extend mercy to Manigriva and Nalakuvera. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Are there any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, what you mentioned that the mercy of Krishna is...
The mercy of Krishna is there, is always there.
So, there is a fertile land and there is a barren land.
Yeah, fertile and barren.
So, like, what endeavor we should do from ourselves to make ourselves like a fertile land?
What endeavor should we do to make ourselves into the fertile soil? What a nice question. The most important endeavor that we should do is to be clear about the object of our goal of life. We should be clear that the goal of life is ultimately to please Krishna and ultimately to attain love of God. That is the first starting point of surrender. Prabhupada writes in a purport in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu, that when the mind doesn't have a goal, it will always be disturbed. It's a very nice point. Huh? When the mind, due to want of a goal, the mind becomes disturbed. It's very important. So if we don't have the spiritual goal correct, it's very hard for the mind to surrender, Prabhu. And when the mind doesn't surrender, the senses don't surrender. And that's why trying to serve Krishna becomes difficult. So we must be clear about the goal. That's the starting point. When the goal is clear, then the land will become fertile. Because we are clear every day why we are doing devotional service. Then the second point is, don't do devotional service as a ritual. You know, Diwali is coming, right? So very often we speak about Diwali as a ritual. We come together, it's very auspicious, you know, and we all have different traditions of Diwali. When I was young, there was always oil bath and all these things, you know. I didn't go into oil, they just put some oil on my head and there was oil bath. But all these things were very important. But ultimately they're rituals. We don't know why we do them. We don't know the purpose behind it. So we just do it. Sometimes even as devotees, because someone invites us to the house, as ritual we have to come to the house. Otherwise, Sandeep Prabhu will mark us. Mataji is counting who's on the attendance sheet, who's not. So we are worried, you know, that we will offend the host. That's not the reason why you come for the program. That's not the reason. And that's not the reason why they are calling us also. They are calling us for sadhu sangha. So we must be very careful that for surrender to happen, don't make the Saturday program into a ritual. Don't make the house programs into a ritual. Don't make singing Damodar Ashtakam in 5 minutes into a ritual. There must be spirit in the ritual. You must put your heart into it. Then it becomes spiritual. Spirit, if you add spirit to ritual, it is spiritual. But if you don't have your heart or your spirit in it, then it remains a ritual. Mother Yashoda put her heart into it, Prabhu. Every endeavor she did that. And therefore she was attentive to Krishna, and then she became attracted to Krishna. So barren land is barren because there is no goal. Fertile land is fertile because it knows what it wants. And it never takes mercy for granted. And therefore mercy is always coming. And it is always receiving. Is that helpful to you? What a nice question. Please keep it in mind. Yes, Golkanti Prabhu.
One point which you shared in the lecture.
One point that you shared in the lecture.
Is something which it struck me. And
It struck you.
I never thought it in that way.
Okay.
You mentioned that
Actually, Krishna stealing.
Actually, not because everything belongs to Krishna.
Everything belongs to Krishna.
Except
Yes.
our own heart.
Our hearts. Yes.
So
Yes.
heart is something that does not. One way it is reserved for us.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a romantic idea that stealing the heart.
It's a romantic idea.
Like stealing the heart.
It is.
And
It's stealing the
by
heart.
Stealing means we don't want to give it, but the other person is still taking it.
Yes. That's why it is stealing, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Stealing.
it's a very deep point.
It is. I'm glad you caught it.
I did not think it that way before you shared it today.
Yeah. It's true. Our heart is the seat of our minute independence. We could make the decision today to come or not to come. We exercised it with our heart and we came. Now that we have come, if we offer the lambs now with love to Krishna, then our heart will be stolen by him. Stolen means even if I don't want to give the heart, Krishna will take it anyway. Anyway. Prabhu is very humble. He's saying it hasn't happened with him. But I suspect it is, because that's why he's been a devotee all these years. So give your heart to Krishna. Anyway, even if you don't give it, he will steal it. Right? He will steal it. But better to give it, right? Why to make it difficult? Give it to Krishna. And that's how it becomes a fertile land. Those who are stingy with their hearts, their land becomes barren actually. But those who are very open with their hearts become very fertile. Very fertile. Thank you, Prabhu. Let us sing Damodar Ashtakam and let us light the lamps. Let us pray to Krishna. Take back this pastime. Remember Gajendra. Yes, Mataji, sorry. Yes.
You mentioned different phases of surrender.
Different phases of surrender.
So how do we understand Mother Yashoda chasing Krishna as one of the phases of surrender?
How do we understand Mother Yashoda's chasing of Krishna as one of the phases of surrender? The chasing of Krishna indicated that she was, first of all, she wanted to perform her duty as a mother. She was very dedicated to that. That's why Arjuna's dedication to his duty as a warrior became a source of his surrender to Krishna. So duty is devotion. Very important. When you become a mother, even if you feel like it or you don't like it, or you feel like it or you hate it, you still will perform your duty to your children. That duty becomes your devotion to them. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma, vishedatma, right? In 5:9 of Bhagavad Gita, one who works, one who does his duty in devotion, he becomes very dear to Krishna. So one phase of her surrender was that out of love for Krishna, she chased him, but she also remembered not only out of love I must chase him, but it's my duty as a mother to reprimand him. That made her surrender deeper. Is that helpful, Mataji? Huh? So it's one thing to love your child, but it's another thing to do something as an exhibition of your love for your child. It's a very nice pastime actually. It's much deeper than what we realize. Let's chant Krishna's names. Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundahalam Gokule Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundahalam Gokule Brajamanam. Haribo. You can come forward now. The elderly perhaps. Yashoda Biyolu Kalabhavamanam Param Vrishtahamadhyam Tato Dhutya Gopra तन्मुनेत्रायुग्मं त्रिजन्तम् पराम्बुजयुग्मे न मुहुस्वासकम्पा त्रिरेखाककण्ठा स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभागम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमाजं तमख्यापयन्तम् तदीशितान्येषु भक्तैर्जितार्थं पुनः प्रेमहतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे यशोदा माता की वरं देवः मोक्षं न मोक्षवदिं न चान्यं ऋणेऽहं वरेशादपीह इदं ते वपूर्णाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्या विरस्तां मन्ये जय बाल गोपाल की इदं ते मुखाम्बोजम् अत्यन्तनीलै घृतं कुन्तलै स्निग्धरत्नश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरतादरं मे मनस्या विरास्ताम् अलं लक्षलाभे नमो देवः दामोदर अनन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जलाभिमग्नम् जय दामोदर जी की कृपा दृष्टि दृश्याति दिनं वतान् ग्रहाणे क्षमामद्यं मेधाक्षि दृशया कुबेरात्मजौ बाद्धः मूर्त्यैव यात्मम् त्वया मोचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे स्थिदामोदरे प्रेम भक्ति की नमस्ते स्तु धाम Hari Hari. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya. Namo Nantalila Yadevaya Tubhyam. Srimati Radharani ki. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya. Namo Nantalila Yadevaya Tubhyam. Hari Hari. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya. Namo Nantalila Yadevaya Tubhyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Yashoda Damodar ji ki. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. You can come forward. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Jaya Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar Ji ki, Jai Shri Kartik Maas ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki, Srimati Radha Rani ki, Jai Shri Bahulashtami Maho Maho Sabha ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much, Sandeep Prabhu, Puja Mataji, and to all the devotees who are gathered here today. Very nice to see so many devotees, even though it's a weekday, but the fire of devotional service continues. We'll have many, many more programs, I think, everywhere. So please continue having these programs, continue lighting lamps, but remember, don't make this a ritual. It has to be from the heart. Very, very important. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. And today is Bahulashtami, right? It's a very auspicious day to remember Srimati Radharani. I remember this one important point Prabhupada said. He said that when you go to Vrindavan, everyone says Radhe Radhe. But Radharani actually becomes very pleased when you chant Krishna's names. So Prabhupada said, if you really want to please Radharani, then don't say Radhe Radhe. Say Hare Krishna. And if you say Hare Krishna, Radharani becomes more pleased. Because those who speak about Krishna, they really please Radharani. And that is why we say Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki.